You know that feeling when you're in a packed room, but you feel completely alone? Or maybe it's the opposite, when you're by yourself, in the quiet, and suddenly, boom, your best ideas just appear. Well, today we're diving into that incredible space between our own inner world and the communities we build together.
So let's start with a question, just for you. Seriously, think about it. When was the last time you were truly, completely by yourself? And how did that feel? Was it this big sigh of relief, like total freedom? Or did you feel a little pang, a bit of loneliness? That push and pull between those two feelings, well, that's what we're going to unravel today.
So, let's unpack this whole idea of being alone. Because what if I told you that choosing to be by yourself on your own terms could actually be one of your greatest strengths?
It's fascinating, right? Our language even gives us a map here. We don't just have one word for it, we have two really different ones: solitude and loneliness. One is all about the glory of being alone. It's a choice, it's powerful. The other, well, that's the pain of being alone, that feeling that something's missing.
Just imagine for a second, a world with no pings, no notifications, no one else's expectations. In that space, your brain is finally free to play, to connect weird ideas, to just be. That's solitude. It's not about hiding from people, it's about making space so you can show up in the world more fully as you.
Okay, but there's a flip side. What happens when being alone stops being a choice? When that peaceful quiet turns into a deafening silence? That's when we cross a dangerous line, from solitude into isolation.
And this right here is the key. For so many people, this isn't a choice at all. Think about an older person living way out in the country. That line between peaceful time to yourself and soul-crushing isolation, man, it can get blurred really, really fast by things that are totally out of their control.
And we're not talking about a small number of people. Just look at this. In the US, about a quarter, 1 in 4, older adults live in rural areas. That is a huge number of people at risk of just slipping through the cracks. A study in rural West Virginia just paints a brutal picture of this. For many seniors, their home, which should be their safe place, can become a kind of prison. You've got limited resources, you're miles from a doctor or a grocery store. It's just a perfect storm for chronic, painful loneliness.
But here's the beautiful thing about humans. In the face of a huge problem like this, sometimes the simplest ideas are the most powerful. A movement has popped up that is completely changing the game by rethinking what it even means to connect.
It's called the Men's Sheds movement. Just picture it. It's kind of like a community workshop or a shared garage. It's a place where guys can get together, work on projects, fix things, build stuff. But what they're really building is connection. It started down in Australia, and now it's all over the world.
And this quote, this is their whole philosophy, and it's absolutely brilliant. It gets that, for a lot of guys, connection doesn't happen by sitting down and staring into each other's eyes. No way. It happens when you're working on something together. The talk just flows. The support happens naturally.
And does it work? Oh yeah, the numbers are just wow. A study back in 2007 found that 97% of the guys involved feel like they have a place where they actually belong. And listen to this, almost all of them just plain feel better about themselves. That is huge. That's the power of community in action.
All right, so we've seen how connection works for one person, and then for a small group. Now let's zoom the camera all the way out. Let's look at how an entire country tells its story of coming together and being torn apart.
Welcome to Northern Ireland. This is a place with just stunning landscapes, but also a deeply complicated history. You can literally feel the stories everywhere, from the ancient rocks on the coast to the murals painted on the city walls. You go to a place like the Giant's Causeway, with these crazy perfect rock columns, and it feels mythical, like you're connecting to something ancient, a story the earth itself is telling. It just fills you with awe. But then you have this stark contrast. Against that natural wonder, you have these man-made divisions, the so-called peace walls in Belfast. These things were literally built to separate people, to carve lines of conflict right into the map of the city.
And yet, that's not the end of the story. Not even close. The story of Northern Ireland today is one of incredible strength, of resilience. It's about a people who are choosing every day to build a new identity, one that respects the past but refuses to be trapped by it.
So, wow, what a journey, right? We've gone from the quietest corners of our own minds, all the way out to the grand sweeping story of an entire nation.
If you think about it, it was a four-step journey. We started with the self and that creative power of solitude. Then we hit the challenge, the pain of isolation. But we found a solution, people coming together, shoulder to shoulder. And that weaves into the giant, messy, beautiful story of the collective, of our society.
And that brings us all the way back to the beginning, back to you. We live in this crazy world with 8 billion people, where we're supposedly more connected than ever, but so many of us feel adrift. So the question is, where do you find your balance? What's your story of connection? As we've seen, the answer is different for everyone, but the search, that's something we all share. Thanks for exploring this with me.